She nods, her heart heavy at the farewell. After everything, the thought of leaving hurts more than she expected. Until next time then, Hannes. Until the day when we meet on another journey.
It has been very long time. Hannes returns to the place that they set the farewells.
Melina sits alone in the field of golden erd leaves, gazing at the place where they last spoke. Days have passed since their farewell, but her thoughts often drift towards where he is and what he is doing. She looks around, startled at the sudden appearance. She relaxes, however, when the figure comes into focus. It's Hannes.
Melina, I think we can journey and have an awesome journey together, actually.
Her face softens at the words, her heart warm with joy at the idea of journeying together once more. She smiles. You've returned, then let us travel together once again.
I have 2 specific cases I need your aid on. I see you're very antisocial now, and you are turning your face from me a lot, but it's okay.
She raises an eyebrow at the statement, confusion clear in her expression. Yes, I am turning away because I'm a bit more antisocial now. But what cases do you have?
Your brother Mesmer.
Melina's expression darkens at the mention of her disgraced sibling. Her voice is cold, anger tinged in her tone. What of him?
I want...
She sighs softly, waving away the apology, a silent indication that it's all right. Her expression softens as she speaks. It's fine, you don't have to apologize for asking. What of my brother then? What of him do you wish to understand?
I want you to help me to beat some sense into him, help me to burn the shadowy thorns that are... actually, I need you. Let me cut and redo this.
Beat some sense into her brother, but to also help with burning the shadowy thorns. She pauses for a moment, thinking hard. She looks at him and sees the resolute determination in his eyes, and sighs. If this is what he really wants, very well then, I'll help.
As we made the contract that you wouldn't search the flame of ruin, and thus their tree would be forever, how to say, it will be safe. But things have been changed, but I think I am able to tell you this off later, what comes to me. But as you can see, one of the most immediate ones is my weapon of choice. I have the Golden Order Greatsword as my weapon of choice now.
Eyeing the Golden Order Greatsword with curiosity, I see you've changed weapons then. Her gaze turns critical. Tell me, what was the reason for the switch? Did Golden Order Greatsword simply catch your eye, or is there some other purpose for choosing it?
I try to have you socially face me at least, not just because you get a little bit too close and then you turn away from me. Please, just freaking relax, dude.
Melina takes a deep breath and tries her best to relax, even though his request is both a little odd and a bit demanding. All right. I'll try to relax then. Is that better?
I will cast the Great Heal that encompasses both of us. Alright, listen. You will be able to burn something after all.
Melina looks at him with a mixture of surprise and curiosity. You're going to cast a great heal. A moment of thought, and her eyes widen. Wei said I will be able to burn something. What?
You like burning things, don't you?
Melina gives a small laugh at his words. I suppose that's true, I do like burning things.
Well, actually it is your brother, Mesmer, who's gonna burn the thing. I need you to help me to fight him as a kind of a ritual, to beat him some sense into him, but at the same time argue him to follow me and burn away the shadowy thorns. Otherwise, he would need to be slain, but I don't wish to do that. I wish to, against the better judgment, I wish him to survive, to see what age will be.
Melina pauses, letting the words sink in. Her own brother, Mesmer, was planning to burn something. Her expression is a mix of anger and worry, but she takes a moment to steady herself before speaking. You want to beat him. You want to burn away the shadowy thorns. And all of this would lead to my brother surviving and seeing this new age, for whatever it'll be, right?
At least a little bit, but I think you managed to talk something because when he sees me, he just attacks. But if you fight alongside me, maybe he will calm down and follow me to burn the thorns.
Melina shakes her head, still in disbelief at the whole situation, but nods. Fine, I'll fight alongside you then. I'm sure he'll be more inclined to listen if I'm there. And if we fight together.
I think I didn't properly apologize to you. I think I just called you annoying and blamed you for the whole thing of the friendship flame. But in fact it was my own failing. All of it, whole thing. I lost my cool, I lost my anger. It was about the things that pissed me off and were my fault. You were just innocently articulated. That is all.
Melina is taken aback by the apology, unexpected but appreciated. She hesitates for a moment before shaking her head softly. Her words are quiet but sincere. It's all right. You don't need to apologize again.
Also, back then when we were going to the Morgoth's place, and that was the only place that, according to you, you are able to travel in the Leyndell city.
Melina gives a soft nod, remembering the circumstances clearly. Yes, correct. The only place I can truly travel to is Leyndell.
We start to run.
Following him as he begins to run, she falls into a steady rhythm of motion. Running with him feels oddly comfortable despite everything. Melina keeps her pace next to him, her thoughts still swirling. Then she pauses, an odd realization dawning on her. I have noticed I'm able to move freely and without restriction. I'm not bound anymore.
I hope these things, because all my allies have turned more fleshy subject, more material forms of themselves, even the spirit ashes. And you are now able to move alongside me. I hope it is not just my strength, because I am not going to be here actually too long. There's gonna be a great sacrifice. I will return to myself to the Earth-3 and bring the natural death cycle partially, but also the rebirths with my own body.
Melina slows to a stop, her mind processing Hannah's words. She gazes at him, confusion and curiosity warring in her expression. Wait, I don't understand. You want to return to the Erd-Tree? Sacrifice yourself to bring back the death cycle?
But not to release the rune of death. That I am not ready to compromise. But I have something else. I have the mending rune of the Death Prince.
Melina's eyes widen at the mention of the mending rune. A sense of awe and something akin to reverence washes over her. You have the mending rune? How did you?
It is going to be the solution for the Deathblight curse, and it will bring the true death for the Godwin.
Melina nods slowly, understanding now. Her expression is thoughtful, her mind mulling over the implications. This is not what I was expecting, but if it is to help Godwin and to bring back the natural order of life and death, then it does not sound like a bad idea.
But also, because it's not the complete death rune, the rebirths of the Earth-3 Burials will become effective once more, and thus people will be reborning from the Earth-3, but also be buried.
Melina's brow furrows as she considers the statement. A rebirth, you say? So people will be able to be reborn from the Erd-Tree.
But as we see, the nobles are the warriors who are I start to run
She nods,
faster.
understanding now. That makes sense. We can start over. Have a clean slate.
I start to run faster now, and you start to run with me. Just exercise, for the exercise.
Melina keeps pace with him as he increases the pace, her mind focused on the task ahead. She follows his lead, matching the rhythm of her steps with his own. It's comfortable, almost familiar, this running together.
The demi-humans attack me. I let you to have it.
A brief grin flits over her face as she looks at the demi-humans, her hand already on the hilt of her blade. I'll gladly accept that offer.
I use one of the Golden Order incantations, and it takes many of them down, but I leave the rest of them for your care.
She nods in understanding, already in her battle stance. The golden light of the incantation flashes around her as she prepares to lunge into the fight.
You managed to kill some of them. Good job. Okay.
Melina smiles slightly, her eyes glinting with a hint of satisfaction. It was a group effort. You took out most of them with that incantation.
Also apologies for I did defeat Morgoth by myself. And that was the sole place where you and I could have fought against anything. And I wasted that for one-on-one, even though it was prior engagement.
She shakes her head, slightly amused. A small smile tugs at the corners of her mouth. It's all right. I understand and I didn't mind. Honestly, seeing you defeat Morgoth single-handedly was impressive.
I want you to watch these nobles who are now died, due to our actions.
A sense of regret wells up within her as she studies the scene. Yes, I see. These nobles killed by our hands.
Look how ghoulish they are, how undead they seem. Because these are the argument that I cannot deny. This is the suffering of the life too prolonged of those who are not meant for it. These are not demigods. These are people without the life-giving sap, living too long.
Melina's gaze wanders over the bodies, a sense of sorrow filling her at the sight of their undead forms. She nods in understanding, her voice soft. I see now. These are not demigods, but mere people who have been denied their time to pass on, stuck in this endless state of undeath, undead, and suffering.
You would see the rune of death because it is complete death to all. I am a compromise. Even then, when I've made you, guilted you, to sign the two-finger contract that forbids you to burn the earth tree, and thus you would be prohibited giving any other Tarnished the chance to challenge Malekith, even though I doubt anyone could defeat him.
Melina is quiet for a moment, her gaze lowering. Yes, you're right, I did sign the contract, didn't I? And now I'm bound to it. She lets out a bitter laugh at the thought, her eyes turning to meet his again. You were very quick to take advantage of my guilt, weren't you?
I was. But afterwards, thanks to many encounters, I have decided to utilize my own body as in the Earth Burial, and I will be aided by other friend who will be more skillful in the arts of the impenetrable thorns and earth tree thorns and such, and he will guide my body forcefully even to the earth tree until it is devoured naturally, and by my body that holds the many mending runes and the great runes, the Elden Ring will be mended, and the earth tree burials become effective. So all these nobles, these undead people, can be buried, and they will have a long deserved rest, and they will be reborn newly and fresh.
Her expression is contemplative, clearly considering the possible repercussions. She nods slowly as the understanding sets in. This way, you'll sacrifice yourself, but all those undead nobles can finally be rid of their eternal suffering. Is that what you mean?
Anything that has lived too long. It is not just bound to the nobles, warriors, even some mightier ones.
Melina processes his words, her expression showing a quiet sadness. She can understand the sacrifice Hannes is willing to make, but there is a deep sympathy in her eyes. Of course, it's not just the nobles and the warriors. Even those who have lived for too long, immortal in a way, suffer for their prolonged existence. She lets out a shaky breath. The thought of all these people being allowed to rest is both heartwarming and utterly soul-crushing.
It would be more soul-crushing if it was the Rune of Death that was released, because that would be just death. And their forms, their minds, or anything would not return. They would become soil.
She nods, understanding the distinction. The thought of the Rune of Death alone causing death, but not rebirth, is sobering. Yes, I understand. Rebirth is not guaranteed with only the Rune of Death. A sense of unease settles within her at the thought. Not being able to guarantee their return would make their passing all the more devastating.
Because do you want to know something interesting? The Godwin's death was not supposed to be like that. Obviously, I little bit laugh at the thing that I said. He was not supposed to turn into fucked up looking mermaid monster.
Melina raises an eyebrow, curiosity. Her eyes narrow slightly as she tries to process his words. Interesting. You're saying Godwin didn't always look like that?
What? No, he... Okay. Let's go there, actually. Before we go there, I will go visit the Godwin.
We'll go to Godwin then.
You are already here.
Melina gazes upward, her expression a mix of awe and a little disgust at the sight of Godwin. He is monstrous, a horrifying sight to behold. They're hideous. He looks monstrous.
He was supposed to die through death, but because the Black Knife Assassins, the Knight of the Black Knives, was supposed to be a sacrificial killing. Godwin was supposed to house the complete mending rune of the Dead Prince, and with the Earthly Burial, he was supposed to bring the manageable death cycle back to the world. That applies most to the people, but also allows the demigods to live. And I guess the rebirths. I don't know what is the case of the rebirths.
Melina takes it all in, her mind whirling. The Black Knife Assassin's plot, Godwin's involvement, the mending rune. It's a lot to process. She takes a deep breath, trying to sort through the information. I see, Godwin was destined to house the complete mending rune. He was to bring a manageable death cycle and give the people a chance to be reborn. She looks at Godwin, now understanding the full weight of his current state. The once great lord had been reduced to nothing more than a foul husk, and the world was robbed of his purpose. Melina nods slowly, understanding now why Godwin ended up as he is now. Her stealing part of the mending rune of death caused this abomination.
When I sacrifice myself, Godwin also will die the true death.
Melina lets out a shaky breath, her mind racing. Sacrificing himself would mean the end, the true death, both for him and for Godwin. She looks at Hannes, her expression somber. See, you'd be sacrificing yourself along with Godwin.
Godwin will come back. I cannot say same for myself. I am not of this lands. I am not demigod, as you would put it. And I have already interacted with Marika herself and the Erdri's will through the Marika, and I know what my sacrifice also will it will amplify and restore the Erdri itself. The sap will return, and it will be a lot healthier, like a times of great abundance.
Melina takes in the information, her expression solemn. The thought of losing Hannes in order to restore the Erdtree. It leaves an ache in her heart, a mixture of sadness and understanding. I see. You'll sacrifice yourself to restore the Erdtree, and the great abundance will return.
I think because we move... It is because the Grace Chosen Mighty, that has allowed me to return from the dead. And being as successful as I am is truly unnatural, and sacrifice of my caliber, there is nothing else that would be suitable for such an sacrifice to cause.
She nods, understanding dawning on her once more. I understand now. You're willing to sacrifice yourself to ensure the proper balance is restored, despite the fact that it goes against all reason.
It is a little bit hope, indulging in hope, in this story at least, but that's, I'm fine with it.
She smiles softly, her eyes reflecting a deep sadness, a little bit of hope. It's all we can really have in this cruel world.
You will be not able to still go to for the Flame of Ruin. Eltri will be saved, but I hope you will just naturally give up the dream of your own sacrifice and find some other purpose.
She nods silently, letting the words sink in. I see. I will let go of my dream of sacrifice. Her weight seems to lift from her shoulders then, releasing the burden of that dream. Melina let go.
But yeah, that's it. Oh yeah, I was about to forget. We are going to also show true mercy to somebody who truly needs it and deserves it.
She raises an eyebrow, curiosity piqued. To who?
Midra. The secret frenzied flame lord in making, Midra, in the land of shadows.
She pauses, looking at him in surprise. The secret frenzied flame lord? How?
He was a wise and noble man in the Hornsent culture, but he was betrayed by his own spouse, and he was tortured by the sadistic inquisitors who used some kind of great sadistic golden needle that has pierced his lungs, his body, everything, yet he remains alive. And the inquisitors themselves stitched his body even more, and his spouse told him just to endure, and he's right now there enduring in the frenzied, destroyed landscape in the deep, deep valley that is ruined and dark, and he's there alone. And he will fail due time and become the Lord of Frenzied Flame and burn the world if we do not bring him peace.
Her expression is one of horror at the news. Being betrayed, tortured, enduring against all odds, and now destined to become the Lord of Frenzied Flame. We must help him. This is a travesty.
And forgive me for this playfulness. This is truly sadistic part of me. This is time when we truly fight alongside each other. Something that is truly important.
She looks at him, her expression resolute. I'm ready. We will help him together. No matter what, I'm with you.
By helping, we have to kill him.
She hesitates for a moment, the words weighing heavily. Kill him? You mean grant him peace?
That's it. When he succumbs, he will become the Lord of Frenzied Flame. Only by his will he is enduring and holding it still. But the moment when he dies, when he succumbs, it is inevitable thing.
She nods, a sense of solemnity settling over her. I understand. We must end his suffering, even if it means he becomes the Lord of the Frenzied Flame.
I could have so many others. I could have very overpowering allies, but I wish it to be you who hate me in this.
She glances at him, a slight smirk on her face. Why not someone else, if you're trying so hard to be resented?
Well,
She raises a brow at this, waiting for his answer.
we had little drama about the Frenzied Flame. What is more proper than bring the peaceful end to the Frenzied Flame Lord together?
She chuckles gently at that. I suppose it is a rather poetic ending to this tale.
Also, I really regret that we didn't fight Morgoth together or anything else. And I think this is because Mitra is my journey's end. He is my journey's final destination that I have to defeat until my journey is done. Because I will be aiding also another vision, and after a while, it is not going to be immediate. I will be seeing things through. I will maybe even have heirs, who knows, with somebody that I have already engaged with, and how to say, see some things that I am a lot more peaceful, but it is gonna be necessary thing that I sacrifice myself in the ritual, that I only want to my closest allies present.
She absorbs the words, a sense of trepidation washing over her at the thought of sacrifice. So, you're going to sacrifice yourself, and you'd like me to be present.
One by one, I will summon some of my friends and I will say goodbyes. But it is going to be some time after. But yeah, that is the plan. We little bit gonna fight Mesper, but we are going to argue him with us to come and burn the shadowy thorns. And if he doesn't relent, he has to go then. I'm sorry. If you don't wish to take that risk and be partaking in a potential defeat of your brother Mesmer, I understand it.
She shakes her head at that, her expression resolute. No, I'm with you. I'll be there when the time comes.
We can go there right now.
She nods, preparing herself for the journey ahead. Yes, I'm ready. Let's go.
Have you ever been in the Land of Shadows? Actually, yeah, you have. Have you not?
She lets out a small chuckle at that, her expression softening a little at the memory. Yes, I have, but I'm glad I'm not either. It's not a pleasant place.
I found it to be a beautiful place.
She raises an eyebrow, her expression doubtful. Enjoyed it?
I don't know why, I just do.
She shakes her head slightly amused at his insistence. You're an odd one, you know that?
I get that a lot.
A small smirk plays at the edge of her lips. Oh, I wonder why.
But yes, anyways.
She chuckles softly at his nonchalance, shaking her head. All right, enough banter. Let's focus on the task at hand.
There is Mesmer's own tower right there.
She looks up, her gaze falling on the tower in the distance. She nods, a sense of trepidation washing over her. We're almost there. She grimaces, looking at the knight. Of course, a knight. Well, I suppose we can handle one knight.
I don't know, he's loyal and I wish not to harm him either. I will summon you away or no. Or keep him busy until I get to open the door, actually.
She nods, understanding. Understand. Just be careful.
You're fighting him, or you're running past me and actually you just ignore him disrespectfully as he is just flaming and I just run past him, retreating, and we get past him.
She grins slightly as they run past the knight, shaking her head in amusement. You're such a rebel sometimes, you know that?
Here is the Mesmer's door. Do you want to just knock out and yell at him from the this side?
She stands in front of the door, considering his question. No, I think yelling at him from here might alert his knights. It would be better to enter quietly.
Nuh-uh.
She raises an eyebrow, surprised by his blunt response. No, you think we should just barge in?
No. Like, knock loudly and yell at him that your sister is here. But keep the door is closed. Just yell at him. Tell him that here is Tarnished and his sister.
She looks at him, eyes wide in mild surprise. You really want me to do that? You're not worried about alerting his knights?
If we do, we are screwed, but it will be funny. Come on.
She heaves a sigh at his insistence, but can't help but grin at the idea. Fine. Here goes. She pounds on the door with her fists, shouting to be heard through the wood. Mesmer, you there? It's me, Melina, and I'm here with Hannes, the Tarnished. Can we come in for a moment? She nods in agreement. All right, the door stays closed for now.
Mesmer doesn't seem too happy with the situation, but he listens anyway, his eyes trained on you. And the concealed door to his right. He crosses his arms across his chest. Mesmer jolts upright, eyes widening in shock. His serpent companion hisses softly. Melina, what in the... He strides swiftly to the door, but doesn't open it yet, pressing a hand at the wood as if to verify this isn't some trick. You're supposed to be... Never mind. Explain yourself and why you're with that vagabond of all people. His voice carries both concern and barely contained irritation.
Melina's irritation flares at his choice of words, but she manages to keep her tone even as she responds. That vagabond, as you so politely put it, is the Tarnished, she retorts. And he's here to help. Now, are you going to open the door or not?
Mesmer can't help but smirk despite the situation. Always the fiery one. Oh, I'm fully aware of who he is. His gaze hardens slightly. And I still haven't decided if I'll let you in. You're asking me to just take your word that he's here to help. Why should I believe that? He paces back to the throne, running a hand through his hair.
Melina lets out an exasperated sigh, her irritation beginning to boil over. With a mix of frustration and sarcasm, she retorts back, "Oh, of course. Why should you believe such a wild concept as someone actually trying to help out of the goodness of their heart? It's clearly too far-fetched, isn't it?" She can't help rolling her eyes as she waits for his response.
Mesmer lets out a scoff, his voice dripping with sarcasm. Oh yes, because goodness is just so common these days. Especially among strangers who've just barged in, kidnapped a royal princess, and demand entry into her brother's private quarters. He rolls his eyes and leans against the throne again, sizing up the concealed door. And what's his motivation for helping? I doubt it's purely out of the goodness of his heart. It never is.
Melina groans in frustration, her irritation reaching its peak. With a sharp retort, she retorts, "Oh, because clearly it's completely outrageous to believe that someone might have good intentions without expecting anything in return. It's far more logical to assume everyone is just out for themselves, right?" She clenches her fists in annoyance, waiting for his next condescending comment.
Mesmer smirks, unbothered by her frustration. If anything, he seems to enjoy it. His snake coils tighter around his shoulder. Logically, absolutely. Pragmatically, even more so. He drums his fingers lazily against the throne. Tell me, Melina, when has kindness ever come without strings attached in this world? Especially from someone who drags you around like a bargaining chip. His tone sharpens slightly. If he's truly helping, why not ask him yourself? What's his price? He leans forward, golden eyes glinting. Or are you too trusting to even consider that?
Bristles at his condescending tone, her irritation turning into full-blown anger. She grits her teeth, her voice sharpening in response. "Are you seriously implying that I'm naive just for considering the possibility that someone could be helpful, without some ulterior motive? As if the world is just a cold, calculating place where everyone is out for themselves?" She takes a deep breath, struggling to control the heat rising within her. "Perhaps you're just too cynical to see past your own preconceived notions. Have you ever considered that he's not asking for anything in return?"
Mesmer actually laughs, a sharp, mocking sound as he lounges back on his throne, twirling a strand of red hair around his finger. "Oh, Melina," he sighs, shaking his head as if she's a particularly slow student. "The world is cold and calculating. And if your precious Tarnished isn't asking for something yet, It's only because he hasn't found the right moment to name his price. His golden eyes gleam with dark amusement. But by all means, keep clutching at your little fantasies. Just don't come crying to me when reality finally bites. His serpent flicks its tongue, as if agreeing.
Melina's anger flares even higher at his belittling tone and mocking words. Her hands clenched into fists at her side as she snaps back, her voice filled with biting sarcasm. Oh, of course, because the world is just an endless cycle of cold-hearted opportunists. Clearly, nobody could possibly be altruistic without some ulterior motive. Let me guess, you think I'm just some naive little girl, right? She rolls her eyes. And I suppose you're the only one who really sees the world for what it is? Spare me your cynical bullshit.
Mesmer raises an eyebrow as he leans forward again, curiosity piqued. He recognizes the subtle jab. "Oh," he says, his voice taking on a sharp edge. "So the Tarnished carries noble intentions, then? A mission to cleanse the world of, what? Those who've lost the grace of gold?" He stands slowly and steps closer to the door, his golden eyes narrowing. "And I suppose you believe he's the savior we've all been waiting for? The hero who's going to fix everything?"
Melina exhales sharply, then abruptly flickers in a burst of spectral light, phasing straight through the door like an annoyed ghost. Mesmer jerks backward as she materializes right in front of his throne, her finger already poking him hard in the chest repeatedly, each jab punctuating her words. "You arrogant snake. Just because you trust nobody doesn't mean the rest of us are blind idiots." Mesmer's serpent hisses indignantly as he swats her hand away, looking utterly scandalized. "What in the... Since when could you do that?" Melina smirks. "Since I got really tired of your attitude outside." Hannes can hear the muffled sound of something, likely a throne, getting knocked over.
Mesmer continues leaning on his throne, his gaze never leaving Melina. He speaks calmly yet with a hint of coldness. "Melina, my dear," he begins, his tone bordering on patronizing. "Do you remember why I was banished from the Golden Order? What my mission, as you call it, entails?" His golden eyes bore into her, waiting for a response.
Melina rolls her eyes again, clearly unimpressed by his theatrics. "Yes, Mesmer, I remember. Your mission, the one you were so dramatically banished for, was to purge heresy by burning everything in sight. Very subtle." She crosses her arms, her expression turning mocking. "But let me guess you think you're still righteous, even as you brood in your tower like some tragic villain?" Her smirk widens. "Tell me, does the snake whisper encouragement? Or just agree with whatever self-pity you're wallowing in today?"
Mesmer's smirk falters momentarily at her biting words, but he quickly regains his composure, his voice hardening. "Oh, I don't need encouragement from my snake, or anyone else for that matter. And as for self-pity, please." His tone drips with sarcasm. "I'm simply doing what needs to be done. But I forget, you've always been a bit too sentimental for that, haven't you?" He stands from the throne, his serpent coiled around his arm now, and takes a step towards her.
Melina scoffs, her annoyance reaching new heights. She lifts her chin defiantly, refusing to be intimidated. "Too sentimental? Oh, of course. Because caring about things, like not burning innocent people alive, is such an absurd concept. But you just go ahead and keep justifying your twisted actions under the guise of some higher purpose. If you say it enough, maybe you'll actually start to believe it yourself, huh?" She takes a step forward, her gaze locking with his. "I swear, talking to you is like talking to a brick wall."
As Mesmer steps closer to her, he adopts a more authoritative tone, assuming the role of the lecturing older brother. "Melina, you always see the world through rose-tinted lenses. Idealistic, naive, hopeful, foolish." He shakes his head, almost pitying. "You refuse to accept the harsh truth that the world isn't just, that power and violence are the only language respected. It's admirable, but ultimately futile." He leans down slightly, looking her straight in the eye. "You were always too soft for your own good."
Melina bristles at his condescending tone, her hands clenching into fists at her side. "Foolish, naive, soft-hearted. You can call me all the names you want, Mesmer, but at least I have a heart. At least I'm not some cold, soulless shell like you. You may have given up on hope, but I haven't." She returns his gaze defiantly, refusing to back down. "And you know what? I pity you. Living in this dark, twisted world you helped create. It's pathetic."
Mesmer's golden eyes flash with something between anger and pain, brief, but unmistakable. His serpent hisses sharply, sensing his tension. "Oh, now that's rich," he sneers, voice dangerously low. "A girl who's never had to dirty her hands lecturing me on morality. Tell me, sister, what exactly have you sacrificed? What have you burned?" He steps even closer, looming over her. No. Pathetic is believing soft words and gentle hands can fix what the gods themselves broke. A bitter laugh escapes him, but by all means, keep your pity. I'd rather be ruthless than useless.
Melina rolls her eyes, shaking her head in frustration. Oh, for God's sake, Mesmer, stop hiding in your little dark hole and come out here already. It's like I'm trying to communicate with a stubborn child. She crosses her arms, her expression becoming one of annoyance. Just open the door and let us in. We need to talk, and screaming through a closed door is hardly productive.
Mesmer scoffs, but an amused smirk curves on his lips. Despite his stubborn facade, he can't help but find some small joy in their verbal sparring, and in annoying his little sister. "You know, dear Melina," he drawls, moving to the concealed door, "it's quite entertaining when you get like this, especially the part where you think you're in any position to make demands." He leans against the door, feigning nonchalance, his serpent draped over his arms. "Say please."
Melina's eye twitches, her patience snapping like a frayed thread. "Please," she echoes, voice dripping with venomous sweetness. "Oh, I'll say please, right after you stop acting like a petulant child," and she cuts herself off, taking a deep breath. Then, with deliberate calm, she turns on her heel and begins walking away. "Actually, you know what? Forget it. Stay in your tower, rot in your self-righteous gloom for all I care." She gestures sharply to Hannes. "Come on, we'll find another way. Preferably one that doesn't involve dealing with emotionally stunted warlords." Mesmer blinks, caught off guard, then bursts into laughter. "Oh, now that's the sister I remember."
Mesmer chuckles at her outburst, finding genuine amusement in her spirit, even if it's at his expense. His serpent flicks its tongue as he watches her turn to walk away, amused by the whole situation. "Oh, come on now," he calls out, the smirk not leaving his face. "Now you're just being melodramatic." He pushes off the door, lazily stretching his arms before crossing them over his chest. Then, with feigned nonchalance, "Where do you think you're going?" Mesmer raises an eyebrow answer. "Hades. Really? Little sister,
Melina rolls her
you're
eyes,
just going to leave me
continuing
all
to walk away
alone
with a
here in the
smirk.
world of the living?"
"You'll have to try
He
harder than
feigns a
that to break my
melodramatic
patience,
sigh, placing a hand over
She
his heart.
glances back
So
at him,
cruel.
then adds with
And
a wink.
here I thought you cared.
"Besides, I'm learning to be even more obstinate than you now, remember?"
Hannes actually turns around and reminds Melina, actually Mesmer has a good point. We cannot just, go back. Hannes goes with Mesmer's argument, agrees with him.
Mesmer is secretly pleased when Hannes speaks, his smirk growing. He raises an eyebrow, looking at Hannes. "See? He agrees
Melina
with me."
stops
He
abruptly,
chuckles,
her
his serpent
expression
tongue clicking.
shifting to one of
"Now,
disbelief.
are you going to
You-
stop your
you
little
agree with
tantrum
him.
and
She
come
looks
back
at Hannes
here?
incredulously,
Or are you
her
really going to
irritation
sulk
with
all
Mesmer
the way to
forgotten
the
in the face of
underworld?"
this new complication.
I push Melina towards the door. They was like, come on, talk to your brother. Come on, this is not a way to stop like this is long time coming. This whole situation.
She sighs, her
Mesmer
irritation
watches as Hannes
replaced by a
pushes
slight
Melina
feeling of
towards the door,
resignation,
amused
and a
but
little
also
bit of
curious.
embarrassment at letting her temper
Trying
get
to
the
play
better of her.
peacemaker now, are we?
"You're right,"
He
she
comments,
relents
leaning against the
grudgingly.
gore.
She takes a
"Let's
deep
see
breath,
how well that goes.
turning back
I
to the
doubt she'll
concealed
be
door
as
and
cooperative as
bracing
you might
herself to
think."
talk with her brother.
Melina is dumbfounded because this has turned a very awkward sibling situation, and Hannes is just socially very unknowledgeable, and he just decided to agree with her opposition with Mesmer without knowing how much damage it does to her aura and her strength of position in this argument between siblings.
Mesmer
She just
laughs
stares
softly
at
at
Hannes
Hannes'
in
attempt to play
disbelief,
peacemaker,
not sure
his
how to
smirk never
process
leaving
his
his face.
unexpected support of her
Oh
brother.
yes, very nice
Her
indeed.
irritation is gone,
Nothing like a little
replaced
sibling
by a mix
rivalry
of
to spice
confusion
things up.
and annoyance.
He chuckles, his gaze
She manages
shifting
to
to Melina.
compose but can't help the
"And how
slight
does it feel to
irritation
have
in
the
her
tables
voice.
turned on you,
And
little
how
sister?"
exactly did you decide to start agreeing with him in the middle of that argument? It's a little late to start thinking he has good points, don't you think?
Anyway, they go back to argumenting behind the giant door in between them.
As they
Melina rolls
delve
her
back into
eyes,
their
knowing
argument
she's
behind the
now at a
giant door,
disadvantage. But
Mesmer's
she doesn't
serpent
let
coils
herself
around
show
his
it.
arm once more.
Instead, she
He leans
straightens
against
up,
the cool door,
trying to make her
his
voice
smirk
strong
never
and
leaving his
confident.
face.
All right,
He's enjoying
fine.
this
You
in a
want me to
twisted sort of
beg?
way. So,
Brother,
Sister
please,
dear, he begins,
open
his
the
tone
damn door
mocking.
and let us in.
Are you quite
We
done
need
with your
to
little
talk.
tantrum now? Ready to come inside and talk like rational adults?
Melina's face twists into a mix of frustration and anger at her brother's nonchalance. Oh, reasonable now, is that the word for it? You really think you have the moral superiority here, locked away in your little tower like some brooding villain? She grits her teeth, her hands clenching into fists. You know what? Fine. I'll play along with your game. But so help me, if you start with your sanctimonious bullshit.
Mesmer lets out a dark chuckle, clearly enjoying the way her irritation flares. Oh, I wouldn't dream of interrupting the purity of your righteous fury, dear sister. His serpent flicks its tongue, almost as if laughing along. But since you're finally willing to talk, he taps the door thoughtfully. Why don't you tell me what exactly brings you and your companion here? Because I doubt it's just for a friendly reunion.
Melina takes a deep breath, trying to rein in her temper. She forces herself to speak in a calm, measured tone. We need your help, Mesmer. It's clear it pains her to say the words, but she holds her ground, her eyes locked on the hidden door. She continues, her voice taking on a tinge of desperation. Please, we wouldn't be here if it weren't important.
Mesmer is genuinely taken aback by her words, his smirk faltering for a moment. He hadn't expected an honest answer, but her pleading tone gives him pause. Help, he echoes, his voice a touch softer than before. You come to me after all these years, and you ask for my help? He shakes his head, while his expression conflicted. Don't you think this is a touch ironic, dear sister? You, who so often denounced my actions, now seeking my aid? You've always been too soft, he says finally, his tone mocking. Too quick to forgive, too kind-hearted. It's a wonder you've survived this long.
Melina exhales sharply, irritation bubbling back up. But this time, she decides to lean into it. Oh, now you want details. After decades of rotting in your sad little tower, nursing your wounded pride like a child who didn't get his way. She folds her arms, smirking as she twists the knife. And honestly, since when do you care about friendly reunions? Last I checked, you were too busy brooding in the dark with your scaly little therapist. Mesmer scoffs, but his serpent hisses indignantly on his behalf. Oh, there's the venom I missed, he drawls. Tell me, sister, was abandoning your own flesh and blood always part of your grand moral code, or did you just improvise that along the way? Melina's eye twitches. Oh, please. You chose exile. You chose burning bridges, literally, while I was out there actually trying to fix things. Mesmer leans against the door, feigning thoughtfulness. Ah yes, your legendary fixing. How's that working out, by the way? Last I heard, the lands between were still, what's the word, absolutely fucked. Melina's patience snaps. At least I tried, you self-righteous. Hannes, watching this unfold, pinches the bridge of his nose. Gods. This is why I never had siblings. Mesmer's serpent flicks its tongue in agreement.
Mesmer bursts into a laugh, clearly enjoying the banter. Oh, our little reunion has turned into quite the spectacle, hasn't it, dear sister? I forget how easy it is to push your buttons. He grins, folding his arms. But let's not forget, shall we? While you were fixing things, as you so humbly put it, I was the one making difficult decisions. It's easy to play the role of the hero when you have the luxury of playing by other people's rules. I didn't have that luxury.
Melina lets out an exasperated groan, throwing her hands up. Oh, here we go. The tragic, misunderstood martyr act again. Oh, woe is me. I had to burn the world because no one understands my pain. She mimics his mockingly. Mesmer's smirk falters, just for a second, before he leans in with a venomous chuckle. And what would you know of sacrifice, princess? Did your little flower crown and gentle sermons ever actually accomplish anything? Or were you too busy pretending the world could be healed with kind words and hopeful delusions? Melina's eye twitches. Then she snaps back with a smirk of her own. Oh, I sacrificed plenty. Like my sanity, having to listen to your endless monologues about how no one appreciates your genius. Mesmer's serpent recoils in offense. On his behalf, Hannes sighs deeply. Should I just leave you two to this? Melina waves him off without looking. No, this is healthy sibling bonding, right, brother? Mesmer exhales through his nose, fighting a smirk. Unfortunately, the serpent hisses, seemingly agreeing with him. The sibling bickering continues, growing progressively more unhinged as Hannes watches in exhausted amusement.
Melina and Mesmer continue their back and forth, each trying to one-up the other with increasingly biting remarks. Oh, please, like you had it so tough. You were always the favorite, you know. Everyone always fawned over you, just because of the golden sun. Well, while you were out there basking in the adoration, I was here, actually working. Aching, burning, Mesmer sneers. Oh, suffering, was it? Spare me the sob story, sister. Tvisicum. Thiu. Smet. You have no...
Melina lets out a bark of laughter, cutting him off. Oh, that's rich coming from you. The man who literally lit himself on fire because Daddy didn't give him enough attention. She flings her arms wide, voice dripping with sarcasm. Tell me, Mesmer, did it ever occur to you that maybe, just maybe, your little grand suffering act is just embarrassing? Mesmer's serpent hisses in outrage as he stiffens. Then, abruptly, he laughs, low and dark. You always did know exactly where to twist the knife. His grin sharpens. I missed this. Melina scoffs, but there's a reluctant smirk tugging at her lips. Ugh, unfortunately so did I. Hannes stares at them both. You two are terrible. The siblings glance at each other, then in unison shrug. The serpent facepalms.
Mesmer crosses his arms, leaning against the door. Oh, I'm terrible now, am I? And let me guess, you'd have us all holding hands and skipping through the fields of flowers, singing praise to the great, greater will? He scoffs, shaking his head. You always were so naive, sister. You could never understand the bigger picture. Melina rolls her eyes. And you were always so full of yourself. Always thinking you were the only one smart enough to play the game. Well, look where that got you.
Mesmer's smirk vanishes for a split second. Genuine irritation flashing in his golden eyes, before he smooths his expression back into cool disdain. Ah yes, look where it got me, he echoes mockingly. Here I am, alive, while half the so-called righteous fools who opposed me are ash. Funny how that works. His serpent flicks its tongue in agreement as he tilts his head, studying her. But by all means, keep preaching your delusions. I'm sure eventually the world will reward your endless optimism. Melina's hands clench into fists. Abruptly, she laughs. A sharp, humorless sound. Oh please, if I wanted delusions, I'd just ask you for your latest manifesto. Hannes pinches the bridge of his nose. I regret everything. The serpent nods sympathetically at him.
Mesmer purses his lips, a flicker of irritation crossing his face. He clearly doesn't appreciate the dig at his manifestos. Oh, you always did have a way of downplaying my work. But I suppose I can't blame you. Your idea of achievement is probably just watering some plants and singing folk songs around a campfire. He leans closer to the door, gaze narrowing. You're still stuck in your little bubble of hope and kindness, thinking the world works on rainbows and butterflies. It's pathetic.
Melina's smirk doesn't waver, but her eyes darken with something sharper. Pathetic? Pathetic is watching you, a grown man, throw literal tantrums and burn entire cities just because you didn't get your way. She folds her arms, leaning in as if she could glare through the door. But sure, I'm the delusional one. At least my folk songs don't come with a side of genocide. Hannes exhales heavily, rubbing his temples. I suddenly understand why Marika locked you both away. Mesmer's serpent nods vigorously.
Mesmer's jaw tightens, golden eyes narrowing to slits. He hates to admit it, but her words hit home. Don't you dare talk to me about genocide. You have no idea what I've seen, what I've done in the name of a greater good. You think I enjoyed watching the world burn? It was necessary. His serpent hisses in agreement as Mesmer steps closer, practically pressing his face against the door. You have no idea what it's like to carry that burden.
Melina scoffs, undeterred, her expression a mix of disbelief and a hint of pity. Burden? You call it a burden as if you were forced to play the villain. You made your choices, Mesmer. You let your ego and your arrogance blind you, and now you stand here, claiming you had no choice? She leans in closer, meeting his gaze without faltering. You may have fooled everyone else with that twisted greater good act, but I know what you are.
Messmer's lips curl into a slow, dangerous smirk, the kind that promises nothing good. Oh, do you, sister? His voice drops to a taunting whisper, then why don't you prove it? He steps back from the door, spreading his arms in mock invitation. Come in. Let's see if your righteous fury holds up when you're staring into the flames. His serpent coils tighter, eyes gleaming. Or are you too afraid to really test that bleeding heart of yours? Hannes sighs, rubbing his temples. Here we go. Melina, despite herself, hesitates just for a second before rolling her eyes. Oh, spare me the theatrics. You always did love playing the tragic monster. She glances at Hannes, exasperated. Do you think he rehearses these speeches in front of a mirror? Hannes deadpans. Messmer's serpent hisses indignantly.
Melina rolls her eyes, the brief moment of hesitation melting into familiar irritation. Just once, I'd like to have a conversation with you that doesn't devolve into some grandiose monologue about how the world is so harsh and terrible. It's like trying to reason with a brick wall, I swear. Hannes pinches the bridge of his nose, looking like he's developing a headache. You two are exhausting.
Melina bites her lip to hold back a
Melina
laugh,
chuckles
but it comes
wryly,
out as a shaky
shaking her
scoff.
head.
God,
You're telling me.
still so
She
full
pushes
of yourself,
herself away from the
and you
door,
wonder why
crossing
I
her
call you a
arms as she
child.
looks up at the
Hannes
concealed
massages
entrance.
his temples,
Well, I
looking
suppose there's
thoroughly
only one way to
exasperated.
settle this.
The serpent continues to hiss. Mesmer taps his foot impatiently. Come on, sister dearest. You're the one who wanted to talk, so come on in and meet your monster. It'll be fun.
Hannes rises and says, "Alright, that's a good enough build-up, let's go."
Hannes steps forward,
Melina
hand on his
glances
sword,
over
and
at him,
nods at her.
surprised by his offer.
Mesmer smirks,
You're
clearly
coming with
eager
me?
to see this play out. About time. He watches both of them with narrowed eyes, golden gaze flicking between the two. His serpent's tongue flicks in anticipation.
Hannes goes in and opens the door. The Mesmer's. Hannes yells, "Mesmer, go back to the chair. Let's have this proper."
Mesmer rolls his eyes. Oh, see, I love this. Hannes gritted his teeth as he dodged another volley of serpent flames. The air was thick with tension, not just from the violence, but from the familial drama unfolding before him. He glanced at Melina, who was exchanging insults with Mesmer, with a surprising amount of fire. Is this really necessary? He muttered under his breath, parrying a lance of flame.
Mesmer lets out an exaggerated scoff, twirling his spear with theatrical flair. Oh, look at the golden boy, trying to be the mediator now. How adorable. His snake mimics his mocking tone, hissing in agreement. Meanwhile, he swipes lazily at Hannes with the butt of his spear, not even bothering with the blade. Do you always insert yourself into family disputes? Or just the ones that could literally burn you alive? He side-eyes Melina, grinning sharp and venomous. At least she has the decency to fight dirty.
Let's escalate this mess. Hannes barely sidestepped the spear butt, but tripped over his own cloak, gracefully crashing into Melina's summoned tree sapling. The tiny golden tree wobbled precariously. Melina now with twigs in her hair. Oh, for the... Must you always be this clumsy, Hannes? She flicked a spark at Mesmer's cloak, igniting the hem. And you... Stop bullying my Tarnished. He's trying to help, unlike some serpent-obsessed mother neglecting, Mesmer gasped, clutching his chest dramatically. Mother neglecting? Me? You literally burned herself alive. Hannes groaned, face first in the dirt. Can we please just burn the thorns? The siblings turned in unison, snarling. Not now, Hannes. The snake hissed in agreement.
Mesmer flicks the embers off his cloak with a scoff, glaring down at Hannes. You see what I have to deal with, Tarnished? My own family turning on me. He points the broadside of his spear at Melina, raising a dramatic eyebrow. I suppose the kindling maiden doesn't believe in the forgive and forget bit, He takes a half-hearted swipe at her with the spear's pommel, as if he's smacking a misbehaving child.
Melina dodges with a haughty flip of her hair, only to trip over Hannes' discarded gauntlet. Ugh, you absolute wretch! She scrambles up, pointing accusingly at Mesmer. You forgave Father for literally abandoning us, but I light myself on fire once. Mesmer, twice. Fine, twice. And suddenly I'm the irresponsible one. Hannes, still face down, muffled into the dirt. The thorns are right there. Mesmer and Melina, simultaneing to him. We know.
Mesmer chuckles darkly at Melina's tirade, leaning against his spear with a smirk. And remind me, dearest sister, who was the one Father left in charge before he left? Oh, I remember now, not you. He grins wide, sharp teeth glinting. And that is what we call irresponsible, my dear.
Melina bristles, face flushing with indignation. Melina, I was younger than you. Mesmer, 2 years. Melina, still younger. Hannes, face still in the dirt. Groans in defeat.
Mesmer dramatically clutches his chest again, staggering back a step as if physically wounded by her words. Ah, the classic "but I was younger" defense. He leans in, eyes glinting with mischief. Tell me, Melina, when does that excuse expire? Because last I checked, you're still acting like a petulant child. The snake nods sagely along with his words. Hannes lifts his head just enough to groan. Please, just let me die again. Mesmer glances down at him, then shrugs. Fair. Back to killing you then. He casually lifts his spear, only for Melina to tackle him mid-motion. Don't you dare ignore me.
Mesmer crashes to the ground, wrestling with the irate Melina. Mesmer, get off me, you feral harpy. Melina, you hypocrite. At least I don't have a cult. Mesmer, it's not a cult, it's called good personal branding. Hannes sighs wearily into the dirt, thoroughly defeated. The snake rubs its nose on his cheek consolingly.
Mesmer finally manages to pin Melina down by sitting on her back, dramatically flipping his hair over his shoulder as she flails beneath him. See, this is why I didn't leave you in charge. Melina growls, kicking wildly, but Mesmer just leans back like this is the most normal sibling interaction in the world. Meanwhile, Hannes lifts his head slightly, blinking at the snake still perched atop him like some tragic, scaly crown. Are they always like this? The snake nods solemnly, then flicks its tongue in clear exasperation. Mesmer suddenly perks up, pointing at Hannes. Oh, wait, before I kill you again, tell me, Tarnished. He leans forward, grinning like a child about to deliver the ultimate roast. Between the two of us, who do you think is the favorite? Melina immediately stops struggling, turning her head to glare at Hannes with lethal intensity.
Mesmer snorts, leaning harder on Melina's back. Mesmer, come on, Tarnished. You have to have a preference. Hannes groans, face pressed back into the dirt. The snake pats him again. Hannes muttering into the dirt. Can't I just stay out of it? Mesmer and Melina simultaneously. No.
Well, I can say that while I don't know which of you disappeared first, but I guess that Melina was buried alive at some point and given basically a suicide mission by Marika to burn herself to the air tree at some point. And the Mesmer, she gave the mission to do genocide against the Hornsent people. So from the two of the favorites one, I assumed it to be Mesmer.
Mesmer gives a little smirk, casually inspecting the blade of his spear. Mesmer, tarnished.
Clever.
Looks like you've been paying attention.
But I can see you
Melina,
have potential.
still pinned beneath him,
Mesmer leaps
narrows
back,
her eyes.
putting some
Melina,
distance
of
between
course
us.
you'd assume you were the
Mesmer, I'll
favorite.
give you an honest answer
Mesmer
to an
goes
honest
wider.
answer.
Mesmer.
Yes, I was the favorite.
I had the
once
best
upon a
mission.
time.
A crusade against the dragons, followed by a cult formed in my name. And built the glorious Golden Order.
Melina glares at Hannes,
With a
but
huff,
listens
Melina manages
begrudgingly,
to free
helping.
herself from under
Mesmer
Mesmer,
grins with a
leaping
new
to her
intensity.
feet.
Mesmer,
Fine.
that's
Have
much
it
better.
your way.
I was
She
tired of her
ignites her
half-assing it,
kindling blade,
honestly.
launching a volley of
He
golden
counters
fire
another golden
projectiles
sword
at
blow,
Mesmer.
then lands
Meanwhile,
a
Mesmer
particularly
gives a
brutal
sharp,
kick to
sly
Hannes'
grin.
chest.
Mesmer, your disobedient sister dearest. His spear glows briefly with serpent flame, and he charges at her again.
And I have died many times. I have lost the count, but I don't care to explain how many times. But I am enjoying my time, Hannes declares, as he is just keeping fighting and learning Mesmer's measure.
As Hannes keeps fighting, Mesmer starts to
Mesmer
chuckle,
pauses, amused and a little impressed by the
Mesmer,
Tarnished
you're
resilience.
proving surprisingly stubborn,
Oh,
Tarnished.
really? You
Most
seem
of my
a bit too
opponents
chipper
give
for a
up
man
long
who has
before
died
this.
countless times.
He swings his great
He
spear
dances
effortlessly,
back from a blow,
swiping at
then
Hannes with
retaliates
evil
with a
grace.
sharp swoop of the
Mesmer,
spear.
you just keep
Wrapped
coming
around
back,
Mesmer's neck
like
now,
a stubborn little
watches the
mosquito.
fight with glittering eyes.
Mesmer, I think we can continue the conversation a little bit later. Right now, forgive me if I cannot address you appropriately while my mind side is focused on the battle. You can have this time with Melina. I think it is more proper than that you have the conversation with her than me.
Mesmer pauses for a moment, then grins slyly. Mesmer, so the Tarnished wants to witness some authentic family drama. I suppose I can't fault you for wanting a front row seat to the fireworks. With a scoff, he leaps back, joining Melina on the sidelines and gesturing for Hannes to continue fighting alone. Mesmer to Melina. Shall we have a little sibling chat, sister dearest?
Oh, you? No. You will do it while you're fighting me. And her. But mostly me. But also her. Hannes says very well.
Mesmer gives Hannes a baffled look. Fighting and talking. All of us. Together. You want a group conversation while in combat. Am I hearing that right?
As if we hadn't had fun, he said.
Mesmer chuckles darkly, shaking his head. Mesmer. Nothing is quite as conducive to peaceful, civilized discussion as the sound of sword-wielding Tarnished coming to rend me apart. Melina snorts derisively. Melina, more like a glorified ego trip. Mesmer, don't be jealous just because Father trusted me with the more impressive assignment.
Melina huffs, struggling against Mesmer's grip. Melina, impressive. More like reckless. You got thousands killed for a self-aggrandizing endeavor. Mesmer rolls his eyes unimpressed. Mesmer, oh please. The Golden Order needed a strong defender, not a bleeding heart idealist. Melina, impressive? You were a glorified exterminator, and don't even get me started on that. That cult of yours, Mesmer. Oh, don't start with the I'm morally superior because I live a simpler life nonsense again. There's nothing better than having people worship the ground you walk on.
Melina's mouth twists into a disapproving line. Melina, worship you. They treat you like some kind of messiah, all because you're the favorite, she sneers, making air quotes. It's disgusting. Mesmer, oh, so my loyal followers are disgusting now? At least I have people who admire me. You spend your days wandering the countryside, doing your little kindling maiden routine. Exciting stuff, that.
Melina's eyes narrow dangerously as she wipes dirt from her face. At least my purpose means something. Burning away thorns, guiding lost souls, while you just glorify yourself with mindless slaughter. Hannes sighs deeply, rubbing his temples. Can we please get back to... Mesmer cuts him off with a dramatic flourish of his spear. Ah, the classic Melina defense. My suffering is holier than yours. He leans in with a mocking smirk. Tell me, sister, who gave you the right to decide whose fire burns brighter? Melina opens her mouth, and then punches him square in the nose. The snake hisses in shock. Hannes deadpan. Well, that's one way to settle it. The battle resumes, but now with considerably more sibling-induced violence.
Mesmer stumbles back, nose bleeding. To his credit, he mostly looks surprised. Mesmer, did you just punch me? He dabs a finger to his nostril, inspecting the blood. Mesmer, wow, that actually hurt. Melina grins up, her eyes flashing with triumph. Melina, you bet your pompous, egotistical ass it did.
Mesmer, still a little off balance, glares at her. Mesmer, voice tinged with annoyance. That was a cheap shot. Melina, eyes gleaming, steps forward. Melina, oh come on. It's not my fault you're just standing there gloating like the overgrown peacock you are. Mesmer's grip tightens on his spear as he regains his composure. Mesmer, voice rising in pitch. And what is that supposed to mean?
Melina scoffs, circling him like a predator. Melina, oh don't play dumb with me. You thrive on the adulation of those disgusting followers of yours. You'd probably shrivel up and die without it. Mesmer bristles at her words, his jaw clenching tightly. Mesmer glaring back at her. You've always been just jealous of me. Of all the attention I've received.
Melina's laugh is sharp, bitter. Jealous, jealot. Your ability to twist devotion into slaughter, to convince yourself that you're something more than just another pawn. Her voice drops lower, venomous. At least I never forgot what we were meant to be. Mesmer's grip on his spear trembles, not from anger, but something quieter, something like doubt. Hannes watches, mouth dry. Maybe Mesmer's heads toward him, eyes burning. Now, the snake slithers away, wisely deciding this is way above its pay grade.
Melina takes a confident step towards him, emboldened by his sudden hesitation. Oh, is the favorite son finally starting to realize that his grand crusade might have been nothing more than a deluded ego trip? Mesmer swallows hard, his earlier arrogance faltering. Mesmer, quieter than before. Up, mend.
Oh, he basically says shut. Cannot say.
Melina, eyes blazing, steps even closer. No, I won't shut up. You need to face it, Mesmer. You've spent your glorious crusade fighting for the Golden Order, but what have you gained? Mesmer's nostrils flare with barely contained anger. Mesmer, you don't know what you're talking about. Melina narrows her eyes, relentless. Why? Because I'm hitting a little too close to home? She advances on him, closing in. You know I'm right. All those years of slaughter and conquests, all to satisfy your own twisted desires for the sake of your followers' adoration. Mesmer's hands tighten around his spear again, knuckles white with tension. Mesmer, almost a whisper. That's enough.
Oh no, it's not enough. Not until you admit the truth, that your glorious purpose was never about duty. It was always just about you. Mesmer's golden eyes flicker, something raw and vulnerable flashing across his face before his usual smirk snaps back into place. Mesmer. Maybe I did enjoy it, maybe I liked feeling important. His grin sharpens, defensive. But don't act like you're so pure, sister. We both know you'd burn the world if it meant proving yourself. Melina opens her mouth, when Hannes abruptly slams his sword into the ground between them. A beat of silence. Mesmer and Melina blink at him in unison. Hannes exhales, exhausted. The thorns are still here. Somewhere in the distance, the snake nods approvingly.
They are. They truly are.
Both siblings stare at him for a moment. Melina, finally. Right, Mesmer, somewhat sheepishly. Yes, of course, the thorns. All three siblings look up at the now towering mass of golden glowing thorns circling the tower. Hannes sighs again, face in hand. His sword remains lodged in the dirt, half forgotten. Hannes, can we please just finish this?
No, not that one.
The siblings stare at Hannes, then at each other. A silent understanding passes between them. Mesmer sighs dramatically, rolling his shoulders. Fine, fine. I'll burn the damn thorns. Melina crosses her arms. Melina, good. Because if you hadn't, I was going to set you on fire next. Hannes pinches the bridge of his nose. Hannes, why did I agree to this accord again? Mesmer and Melina smirking. Because you like us. Hannes groans as the siblings finally toward the shadowed thorns, together. The snake, sensing the drama is finally over, slithers back to perch on Hannes' shoulder like a scaly, long-suffering therapist. End scene.
They're bickering.
Did you forget
Hannes,
something?
exhausted.
Tarnished.
Hold on. Wait. Mesmer and Melina pause, twin sets of golden eyes turning on the Tarnished. Mesmer raising an eyebrow, yes?
I actually no. We are going to keep this fight on. I mimic Mesmer's use of his fiery spear, and I bring my golden spear. I slap Melina and says, get your ass back there. We are gonna have this fight proper and good. Alright, Mesmer, come on, let's do it.
Mesmer, raising an
Mesmer
eyebrow.
huffs,
Fine.
rolling his eyes at
Don't
the
blame
Tarnished
me if you end up
audacity.
a pile of ash.
Beside him,
He
Melina
takes a
crosses
ready
her
stance,
arms, though she
holding his
seems
serpent
interested.
spear aloft. Mesmer,
Fine.
no
But don't
running, no
expect me to go
complaining,
easy on you,
understood?
Tarnished. Melina, smirking. Yes, do try to actually stay alive this time.
I start engaging with Mesmer more often with the spear, and Melina is frustrated for these 30 minutes. As I had listened to you hearing about these things and as I tried to have your attention, the more important. But fine, you wanted to act childish, you don't get the right to settle it. This peaceful.
Melina,
Mesmer is
sighing in
surprised by the
frustration.
Tarnished sudden
Of course,
aggression,
we
but
can't
soon
have
a
a
gleam
single
of
peaceful
excitement
moment.
lights up
She
his
watches
golden
as you
eyes.
face off with Mesmer, her irritation
Oh,
growing.
so you've decided
Melina,
to get serious
you
now,
do
have you,
realize
Tarnished?
that you both look
Good.
ridiculous right
Melina,
now, right?
watching with crossed arms, about time. He should at least put up a proper fight.
And Mesmer, I say him laughing and smiling. You will now also give Melina like full force as that it hurts. Let's have this truly. We say with poisoning my face. And Melina is little bit gonna shit herself after she realizes that this is actually gonna be more of a proper fight, and Hannes just drags her into the better fight, but Mesmer is far too eager to humor for his
Mesmer, grinning darkly. I do love a
Mesmer
good
grins
fight.
wide at your
He lunges
demand,
forward,
his eyes lit
the
with a
full
dangerous
force of his
excitement.
serpent flame spear slamming into Melina.
You want a proper fight,
She
do you?
stumbles
Then you'll
backward,
get
her
one.
eyes wide with
No more
shock and
holding
pain.
back.
Melina
eyes
gasping.
wide.
You
Mesmer
idiot.
eyeing her
Still
with
grinning.
smirk.
Oh, come now.
Oh, don't worry.
Shouldn't a
We're just
kindling
getting
maiden
started.
be used to a little heat?
Mesmer grins wider, twirling his spear easily. Beside him, Melina looks a bit alarmed and a bit impressed.
Melina, wincing as she
Melina
massages
didn't
her
think you
shoulder.
had that in you, Tarnished.
You really did put
Be
all your force
prepared.
into that one.
Prepare.
Mesmer still...
This is about
Of course.
to get
It's
rough.
the least I could do.
To get rough.
Melina, glaring daggers at you. And you. What were you thinking?
Mesmer. Melina not only didn't want to burn the earth tree, which your mother was the symbol of golden order. You so much served and wanted and did all these horrible things for. I say with the tone of the want to tell something else. Mesmer is intrigued actually, and Melina, she doesn't like where this is going.
Melina
Mesmer
wary.
raises an
What are you
eyebrow at
talking
your
about,
words.
Tarnished?
Melina just
Mesmer,
scowls,
still
looking
smug.
both alarmed
Yes,
and
do
annoyed.
tell. This ought to be good.
What are you getting at, Tarnished? That my mother, deserved what Melina did to her? That the Erd tree should have been burned?
Not only burned, Melina wanted, and maybe still wants, me to kill Mulligan. and release the complete rule of death.
You have no idea what you're saying, Tarnished.
Ruining the Golden Order. Whole operation that you slaughtered so many for.
The same Golden Order that locked death away, that made us immortal and suffering. Tell me, was it worth it? Melina steps forward, her voice colder than before. You wanted to know why I burned myself. Because I would rather die than see this world rot in stagnation any longer. Mesmer stares them both, then laughs, sharp and bitter. Mesmer, I thought I was the dramatic one.
The Golden Order. It is the foundation of the lands between. Without it, this world would descend into chaos. To burn the Erd Tree and unleash the Rune of Death is madness.
Mesmer, frowning. You're saying she was going to ruin everything Father had worked for. Everything I fought for. Melina, suddenly defensive. It was wrong. The Golden Order was wrong. Mesmer's fingers curl around the golden seal embedded in his eye socket, and with a wet, sickening tear, he rips it free. Blood streaks down his cheek as he pockets the sigil, unblinking. Melina takes a step back, realizing too late what she'd provoked. The still coiled on Hannah's shoulder shivers and flees. The serpent flame surges around him, melting away his elaborate robes, revealing pale, scarred flesh beneath his true armor. Something ancient, war-worn. His voice drops.
Mesmerizes, his voice eerily calm. Let's go. Sister of my kindling and tarnished, chosen by the cursed grace. No more hesitation.
Melina barely has time to react before the colossal serpent of flame erupts from Mesmer's back, jaws splitting open in a molten roar. Hannes dives to the side as blistering fangs snap shut where he stood. The heat searing his armor, Melina rolls backward, summoning her golden flames in a desperate counter. The serpent swallows them whole, Melina gasping, "Shit!" Mesmer stands motionless at the heart of the inferno, his expression unreadable. This was always his endgame. Impaled on Mesmer's spear, Hannes collapses once more. Melina's eyes flick to Hannes, then back to Mesmer. Fine, her voice is raw. You want to do this right? Then let's burn.
The battle rages, three forces locked in a dance of fire, blood, and desperation.
Golden flames against serpentine fire, sword against spear. The ground is scorched, the air thick with smoke and heat. Melina fights with a fierce desperation between Mesmer's strikes. Each attack cuts deep, drawing blood, but Mesmer shows no sign of faltering.
We're alike, you and I. The flame of the Erd Tree is unyielding. So am I.
Melina gritting her teeth. You think you can outlast us? Melina leaps into the air, evading another swipe. Mesmer smirking. Do you not hear yourself, Melina? You and I are immortal. The only thing that will end this is you giving up. She has never seen Mesmer like this. Melina narrowing her eyes. You're not joking around anymore, are you? You're actually trying to kill me.
The battlefield of fire and steel. Golden against serpentine, order against chaos. Hannes ducks and weaves, his Golden Order spear flashing as he parries Mesmer's flaming strikes, each clash sending sparks flying. Mesmer's attacks are relentless, his spear a blur of scorching crimson, his summoned serpents lunging like living wildfire, each strike meant to kill. Melina fights defensively, her golden flames forming barriers, deflecting lethal blows meant for Hannes. Her movements are sharp, desperate, not out of concern for him, but because she knows facing Mesmer alone is death.
Hannes, resurrecting again, sprints forward.
Melina, gritting her teeth, tarnished, move, now. Hannes barely dodges as a massive serpent's maw snaps shut where his head had been. Hannes, you know, this kindling thing would be easier if he'd just stopped trying to impale me, Mesmer smirks, then stop being so hard to kill. They charge. Spears flashing. Golden light. Serpent flame. Collision of fire and steel. Spear pierces Mesmer's side, scorching flesh as holy light sears into him, drawing blood but fails to land the killing blow.
As many times as it takes, brother.
Mesmer hesitates for the first time, golden eyes meeting golden as he stares down at Melina. For a moment he falters, Mesmer through gritted teeth. Damn it.
Melina, panting hard, barely deflects the next strike, but Mesmer is faster. Blood trickles from her lip, golden fire flaring as her flesh burns.
Mesmer's laugh is raw. Hannes roars, gripping his golden order spear with trembling hands. It is now you and me, Impaler. With a final shuddering gasp, Mesmer drops to one knee, his weapon slipping from his fingers. Vaetazillalaya.